Ethan, can you hand me the mug? Claire's voice floated from the kitchen. Yeah, I said, sliding it toward her. You're addicted to that vanilla latte. She smiled over the rim. Some habits are comforting. I watched her, the way sunlight traced the strands of her blonde hair. I'd known her 2 years, and every small gesture still hooked me. You ever think about your old habits? I asked lightly. She raised an eyebrow. You mean Dylan? Just curious, she laughed softly. He's just a memory, Ethan. You know that. The way she said it, steady, casual, should have calmed me, but it didn't. Something behind her eyes flickered, gone before I could name it. I forced a smile. Then I guess I shouldn't compete with a memory. You're not competing with anyone, she said, wrapping her arms around my waist. You're mine now. Her warmth pressed against me, and I believed her because I wanted to. I always wanted to. Later that evening, we sat on the couch scrolling through her phone. She showed me travel blogs, laughing at random pictures. A message banner flashed across the screen. Dylan R. sent a photo, then vanished. My stomach tightened. She noticed my glance and locked the phone quickly. Work stuff, she murmured. Dylan still works with you? He sends portfolio shots sometimes. Don't make that face. I'm not. You are, she teased, tapping my nose. Stop overthinking. I told you he's the past. Her words wrapped around me like soft thread, and I let them. When she went to shower, I sat there replaying the message notification. Curiosity scraped at me. I hated that it did. The sound of running water filled the apartment. I picked up her phone, stared at the black screen, then set it down again. I didn't want to be that guy. She came out wearing my hoodie, her hair damp. Movie night? Sure, I said, pushing the phone farther onto the table. You look weird, she said. Just tired. Then come here. She pulled me close. Promise me you trust me. I do, I whispered. The movie flickered, forgotten. My mind was louder than the dialogue. The next morning, she hummed while dressing for work. I watched her tie her hair. Big day? Just another shoot, she said. With him? The words slipped out. She froze. Ethan, I'm asking. No, she said quickly. Not with Dylan, he's doing his own projects. I nodded, pretending the tension didn't choke the air. She stepped closer. You really need to stop worrying. People break up and stay friends sometimes. I know. Then act like you know. Her tone sharpened, then softened again. I love you. That should be enough. It is, I lied. After she left, silence settled over the apartment. I poured coffee but didn't drink it. My reflection in the window looked uncertain, smaller. I remembered how my mother once said, when someone repeats "trust me" too often, they're reminding themselves, not you. That thought stayed all day. When Claire returned, she tossed her bag down and kissed my cheek. Guess what? I booked a weekend shoot in Brighton. Alone? With the team. Dylan's part of the team, right? Her smile faltered. Sometimes. Claire, don't start. I'm not starting. I'm trying to understand. You're trying to control, she snapped, then sighed. Sorry, I didn't mean that. We stood there, 2 people pretending this was still easy. She reached for my hand. Can we not ruin tonight? I squeezed back, forcing steadiness. Okay, no ruin tonight. We ordered takeout, joked about the delivery being late, laughed at a silly commercial. It almost felt normal. Yet every laugh had weight, like we both knew it was covering something fragile. When she fell asleep beside me, I stared at the faint glow of her phone on the nightstand. A new notification appeared, 1 new photo added to cloud storage. I swallowed the ache rising in my throat. I turned away, whispering into the dark. She's just a memory, right? But the words didn't sound like hers anymore. They sounded like a question I was afraid to answer. Claire, your laptop's running like a snail, I said, sitting at the dining table. She laughed from the couch. It's old, Ethan. Be gentle. I'm just cleaning the drive. You've got backups on the cloud, right? Yeah, everything important's there. Don't delete anything. Relax, I said, smiling faintly. I'm not trying to erase your life. She threw a pillow at me. Good, I might need those memories someday, I chuckled. Of what, cat photos? Among other things, she said, smirking. Stop being nosy. Her tone was playful, but something about the way she said memories lingered in my head. She went to shower, humming. Steam drifted from the bathroom door. I continued clearing junk files until a folder name caught my eye. Cloud Sync Backup. I opened it, meaning to check storage size. Then it happened. A thumbnail loaded. A photo. Then another. Claire and Dylan. They weren't old. The timestamps read 2 weeks ago. Her hair was the same length she had now. Same jacket. In one, Dylan's hand brushed her cheek while she laughed. In another, they stood too close, heads tilted together under streetlights. My hand froze on the mouse. My pulse thundered in my ears. I whispered, "No." No, the shower kept running. I felt like the room was spinning. The sound of dripping water grew louder, like it was mocking me. Every promise she'd made, every "he's just a memory," collapsed in my chest. I scrolled down. More photos. Their smiles looked real, alive. Hers didn't look forced. Mine had never made her smile like that. I wanted to close the laptop, but I couldn't. My eyes kept dragging over the images like I needed to burn them into my memory just to make them stop haunting me. Footsteps. I slammed the lid shut. She stepped out, towel around her hair. "Still fixing it?" "Yeah," I said too quickly. "Just clearing stuff." "Don't break my files," she teased. "I wouldn't dare," I muttered, staring at my hands. She walked closer. "You okay?" "I'm fine." "You look pale." "Just tired." She leaned down, touching my shoulder. "Then stop playing tech genius for a night." I forced a smile.
"Sure." When she turned away, I exhaled sharply.
My mind screamed, "Say something," but my voice stayed buried under the weight of disbelief. Later, she brewed coffee, humming as if nothing had happened. I watched her move around the kitchen, her body language easy, unbothered, like guilt didn't exist. "Hey," she said, handing me a mug. "Why do you look like you saw a ghost?" "Maybe I did," I said softly. "What?" "Nothing." She sat beside me, sipping. "You're acting weird again." I stared at her hand, the same one I saw touching him in the photo. "Do you ever think about Dylan?" Her grip tightened on the cup. "Why would you ask that?" "I just wondered." She frowned. "You know I don't." "I'm not sure I do." Her eyes narrowed. "Did something happen?" "Depends on what you call something." "Ethan, you're scaring me." "Good," I said quietly. Her jaw tightened. "What's that supposed to mean?" I looked at her directly. "You said he was just a memory. And he is. Then why does your cloud think otherwise?" Silence, her eyes flickered. "What?" I pointed at the laptop. "Your photos. You and him, recent, 2 weeks ago." She stood abruptly. "You went through my files?" "I was fixing your laptop." "You had no right. Then you had no right to lie." I snapped. 2 years, Claire. You looked me in the eye and told me you were over him." Her voice trembled. "It wasn't what you think." "Then tell me what it was. A friendly reunion under streetlights?" He needed closure. "So you gave it to him with a smile and a camera flash?" She winced. "You're twisting things." "I'm seeing things. Literally. They're right there." She ran a hand through her hair. "It was just a few photos. Nothing happened." "Nothing?" My voice cracked. "Then why do they look like you still love him?" Her eyes filled with tears. "You don't understand." "Then make me understand, because right now all I see is proof that I've been living in someone else's love story." She covered her face. "He called me out of nowhere. I didn't plan it, and you just went along? I didn't think it would matter." "It mattered to me!" I slammed the mug down, coffee spilling over the table. "Every time you said you loved me, it mattered." She started crying. "I'm sorry." I stared at her tears, but they didn't move me. I'd seen that expression before. Regret without change. "I need air," I muttered, grabbing my jacket. "Ethan, wait." I stopped at the door. "Don't. I can't hear your voice right now." Outside, the cold bit into my skin, but it felt cleaner than the air inside. I walked aimlessly, hands trembling. Every word she'd said replayed in my head, twisting deeper. He's just a memory. No. He was still there, living behind her smile, hiding in her cloud. A ghost she never buried, and now that ghost had taken everything from me. "Claire, we need to talk." My voice came out rough, steadier than I felt. She looked up from her phone, her expression shifting. "About what?" "You already know." "Ethan, if this is about the photos..." It is. She sighed, setting the phone down like she was preparing for a performance. You weren't supposed to see those. I wasn't supposed to find out you lied, I said. Yet here we are. Her eyes darted away. It wasn't a big deal. Not a big deal? I laughed bitterly. You were with him, recently, after telling me he was just a memory. She crossed her arms. He needed closure. I took a step closer. And what did you need, Claire? She swallowed hard. I needed to make peace with the past. By holding his hand? She winced. You're twisting things again. No, I'm finally seeing things straight. Silence stretched between us. She looked small for a moment, but then her voice softened, practiced. Ethan, please. I didn't mean to hurt you. You just didn't care if you did. That's not fair. What's fair is honesty. You had a choice, tell me, or keep me blind. Her tears started falling, perfect and timed like a movie scene. I was confused, she whispered. I love you, but part of me wanted to understand why I once loved him. Then why didn't you just say that? I asked quietly. Because I didn't want to lose you. I stared at her, at the way her lips trembled like she wanted me to believe her. You already lost me, Claire. You just haven't realized it yet. She stepped forward. Please don't say that. I can't pretend anymore. It was just closure, she repeated, desperate now. I shook my head. Closure doesn't happen in secret. Closure doesn't look like his hand on your face. She flinched, then grabbed my arm. Ethan, listen to me. It didn't mean anything. Then why are you crying? Because I love you, she cried, her voice cracking. Because I made a mistake and I'm terrified of losing you. Funny, I said. You weren't terrified when you were with him. Her hand slipped away. She looked broken, or maybe just pretending. I couldn't tell anymore. I'm not perfect, she whispered. No one is. But you lied so beautifully I almost applauded. Stop saying that. It's true, I said. Even your apologies sound rehearsed. She wiped her face, shaking. What do you want me to do? Delete him? Pretend he doesn't exist? I want you to tell the truth, I said. I am. Then why does it still sound like a lie? She exhaled sharply, voice trembling. I didn't sleep with him, Ethan. I didn't ask that. Then what do you think I did? You betrayed my trust, and that's worse. Her tears kept falling, and I just stood there, feeling nothing. The pain had gone quiet, almost numb. She reached for me again, her hands cold. Please, can we start over? I looked into her eyes, searching for something real. Do you even know what you want? I want us, she whispered. Us doesn't exist in lies. She broke down completely then, sobbing against my chest. I didn't push her away, but I didn't hold her either. I just stood still while she cried. Between her sobs, she said, I can fix this. I swear I can. You can't fix something you never meant to protect, I said quietly. She pulled back, red-eyed, shaking her head. You're being cruel. No, I said. I'm just finally being honest. Her expression changed. Pain, anger, fear, all colliding in one look. So that's it? You're just walking away? I'm standing right here, I said. But I'm done begging for honesty. She whispered my name, softer this time. Ethan. What? I love you. I looked at her, tired. You love control. You love the comfort I gave you. You don't love me. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. I could see her searching for another beautiful excuse, but for once she didn't find one. I turned toward the door. Behind me, she said, Don't do this. I stopped, her voice trembling like a broken violin string. I remembered what my mother used to say, love without honesty is poison. I realized then I'd been drinking poison for months, convincing myself it was love, and tonight, I finally tasted the truth. She called 3 days later. I almost didn't answer, but something in me still wanted a reason, or maybe just closure. Ethan, she said softly, can we talk? About what's left, I asked. About what's real. Her voice sounded fragile, almost careful. I went anyway, not because I wanted to hear her, but because I needed to stop wondering. When I walked into her apartment, it smelled like lavender and regret. She stood near the couch, twisting her hands. I owe you the truth, she said. Now you do? She flinched. Please, just listen. I crossed my arms. I'm listening. She took a shaky breath. I met him a few times. My jaw tightened. How many is a few? 3, maybe 4. I laughed, but it came out hollow. And that means nothing to you? It wasn't like that, she whispered. It was never physical. We just talked. You just talked, I repeated, and deleted the messages. Lied to my face. Hid the photos. Her eyes filled again. I was scared, Ethan. Of what? Of being honest? Of losing you. You lost me the moment you chose him over truth. She reached out, but I stepped back. Please, she said. It meant nothing. Nothing? I asked. You built lies around that nothing. Her lips trembled. I didn't mean to hurt you. But you did, I said quietly. You burned everything we built and called it fear. She looked at me desperate. I love you. No, I said. You love what I made easy. Her tears spilled again, but I couldn't feel pity anymore. I picked up my jacket from the chair. Goodbye, Claire. Ethan, please don't. I already did. I walked out before her words could follow me. The hallway light felt too bright, the air too cold. Outside, I breathed in, the night sharp in my lungs. It felt cleaner than anything she'd said in days. Liam opened his door before I even knocked twice. Man, you look like hell, he said. Thanks for the observation, I muttered, stepping inside. He handed me a beer. I figured you'd come eventually. I didn't plan to. Heartbreak never is. I sank onto his couch, the bottle sweating in my hand. For a moment, neither of us spoke. The silence was almost kind. Then he said, You want to talk about it? No. You should. There's nothing left to say, I replied. She confessed, and somehow it made it worse. He leaned forward. How? Because hearing her try to make betrayal sound gentle made me sick. Liam nodded slowly. That's what liars do. They soften the knife. I stared at the floor. I thought we were solid, you know? That we'd get through anything. Everyone thinks that, until they don't. I can't even hate her, I said. I just feel empty. That's normal. The anger comes later. I don't want anger. I just want quiet. He clapped a hand on my shoulder. You'll get there. My phone buzzed. Sophie's name lit up the screen. I hesitated, then answered. Hey! Her voice was gentle but firm. Liam told me. Of course he did. I just wanted to check on you. I'm fine, I lied. She didn't buy it. No, you're not. But you will be, I exhaled. She said it meant nothing. Sophie scoffed. Classic. You think she meant it? She meant to save herself, Sophie said. Not you. That silence between us carried truth I didn't want but needed. She didn't just betray you, Ethan, Sophie said quietly. She made you question your worth. Don't let her win twice, I closed my eyes. Too late, maybe. No, she said. You're still standing. That's how you win, I almost laughed. You always know what to say. That's because I've been where you are, she replied. You'll wake up one morning and realize her voice doesn't echo anymore. I hope so. You will, she said. But tonight, just breathe. When the call ended, I sat in silence, the kind that doesn't hurt, just hums softly in your chest. Liam tossed me a blanket without a word. For the first time in weeks, I felt the faint edge of peace. Not forgiveness. Not healing. Just air, clean, cold, and mine again. The first message came 2 days after I walked out. I'm sorry, Ethan. Please, just talk to me. Then another. I'll do anything to fix this. And another. You don't know how much I hate myself right now. I read every one of them. I just didn't reply. Silence was the only thing that made sense anymore. Words had failed us. Or maybe she had failed them, Liam noticed.
You're really not going to answer her?
No, I said, eyes fixed on my phone screen. She's still your ex, not your enemy. Maybe silence is kinder than what I'd actually say. He shrugged. Just don't let it eat you alive. I'm fine, I lied for what felt like the 100th time. So I worked. I threw myself into every project I could find. Deadlines became distractions. Coffee became survival. And every night, when exhaustion didn't quiet my mind, Sophie's voice did. One night she called and asked, Still ghosting her? Not ghosting, I said. Just done talking. That's progress, she said. Feels more like self-defense. It's both, she replied softly. You're finally choosing yourself. Her words settled in me like calm after chaos. I started walking in the evenings, long routes that didn't go anywhere. Streetlights stretched my shadow ahead of me, tall, thin, almost unfamiliar. I caught myself wondering if Claire still checked my status, if she stared at the same silence I did. Then I'd shake it off. That wasn't my problem anymore. One Friday after work, I stopped at a small cafe near the river. I was halfway through my coffee when I heard a familiar voice. "Ethan?" I turned. Nora stood there, Claire's sister. Same brown hair, same hesitant smile. "Hey," I said, trying to sound normal. She sat across from me. "You look tired." "I've been better." "I heard what happened," she said quietly. "She's a mess." I let out a dry laugh. "Good for her. She doesn't even know what she wants." "Ethan, I told her she'd lose you if she kept playing games." "She didn't listen. She never does." For a moment, we both stared at our cups. The silence between us wasn't heavy, I'm just honest. "I'm sorry," Nora said suddenly. "You didn't deserve that." "I know," I said, "but I let it happen." "That's not on you." "Maybe not," I replied. "But I ignored every red flag because I wanted to believe her." Nora nodded. "She's confused, but that doesn't excuse it." "I used to think love could fix people," I said. "Love doesn't fix anyone," she whispered. "It just shows who they are." That line stuck with me long after she left. Back home, I sat on my bed and opened my phone. There were 15 unread messages from Claire. "Can we meet?" "I can't sleep." "Please, Ethan, I'm falling apart." I stared at the screen until the words blurred. My thumb hovered over the keyboard, but I didn't type. Instead, I opened the gallery, photo after photo. Smiles, sunsets, tangled hands, fake peace. Each picture looked staged now, like a play where I'd been the fool in love with his own script. For a long time, I just scrolled. Then I stopped at one. The two of us on the beach, wind in her hair, my arm around her waist. We looked happy. Maybe we were. Or maybe I was just blind. I exhaled slowly, then hit delete all. The phone asked, "Are you sure?" I pressed yes. Just like that, she was gone. Or as gone as she could ever be. For the first time since it all fell apart, I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't even feel angry. I just felt empty in a clean way, like space waiting to be filled with something better. Liam knocked on my door. "You good?" "Yeah," I said quietly. "I think I finally am," he smiled. "About time." Later that night, I sat by the window, phone silent on the table. No messages. No memories waiting to ambush me. Just the city breathing outside and me breathing with it. Maybe silence wasn't my weapon anymore. Maybe it was my peace. It had been 6 weeks since I deleted everything. 6 weeks since her voice stopped echoing in my head. Life had started feeling normal again, quiet, but not empty. That afternoon, I was meeting Liam for coffee downtown. He was late, as always. I ordered an Americano and sat by the window scrolling aimlessly through my phone. The world felt still for once, until I heard a laugh I used to know too well. I froze. That voice. Claire. I looked up, and there she was, sitting across the cafe, just a few tables away. My pulse jumped, but my face stayed calm. She wasn't alone. Dylan was with her. For a second, I didn't move. I just watched. They were the kind of sight I used to fear, the one that could reopen every wound I'd tried to close. But this time, I didn't look away. Dylan leaned closer to her, talking fast, animated. His charm was the same, that polished confidence that once fooled even me. But the woman sitting next to him, not Claire, was laughing too loudly. Dylan didn't seem to care that Claire's smile had faded. He touched the woman's arm. Claire noticed. Her jaw tightened. Her hand fidgeted around the cup. I heard her whisper, "Can you stop?" Dylan smirked. "It's just a joke, relax." "That's what you said last time," she muttered. He leaned back. "You're being dramatic again." The woman giggled and said, "You two fight like an old married couple." Claire forced a laugh, but her eyes darted toward me, and in that instant she saw me, her face drained of color. The cup trembled slightly in her hand. She whispered something to Dylan, but he didn't even glance my way. His attention was fixed on his new company, his grin rehearsed and hollow. I didn't move. I didn't speak. I just looked at her, the woman who once swore she'd never hurt me. She tried to smile, maybe out of guilt or habit, I couldn't tell. I simply raised my coffee in a small, quiet salute. Not mockery, not forgiveness, just acknowledgement. Then I stood up. As I walked past their table, I heard Dylan say, "You okay?" Claire replied under her breath, "He saw us." "So what?" he said. "You're not together anymore." Her voice cracked. "You don't understand," he chuckled. "No, I think I do. You still care about him." She didn't answer. Outside, the air felt light, like the universe had exhaled with me. Liam arrived just as I stepped out. "Hey man, sorry I'm late. You look weirdly peaceful." "I just saw Claire," I said. His eyebrows shot up. "What, where?" "Inside." He peeked through the window, spotted them, and let out a low whistle. "Wow, that's awkward." "Not really," I said. "More like proof." "Proof of what?" "That karma doesn't need witnesses," he grinned. "You sound poetic today." "I feel poetic," I said. "Or maybe just done." We walked down the street talking about nothing, work, football, weekend plans. But inside, something shifted. That hollow space in my chest wasn't heavy anymore. It felt filled with quiet understanding. Later that evening, Sophie called. "You sound different," she said. "I ran into her," I replied. "Oh no, are you okay?" "I'm better than okay. I saw her with Dylan." "Let me guess. He was being his usual charming self?" "Charming someone else," I said. Sophie laughed softly. "Karma's punctual sometimes." "Yeah," I said. "And poetic." There was a pause. "Do you still love her?" she asked. I thought about that. The way Claire once looked at me like I was her safe place. The way she later looked at me like I was an obstacle. Then the look today. The one filled with regret. "No," I said finally. "I think I just remember loving her." "That's a better place to be," Sophie said. "It is," I replied. "It really is." After the call, I walked back toward the cafe. Through the window, I saw them again. Claire sitting alone now, Dylan gone, her coffee untouched. She was staring out the same window I had sat by earlier, like she was looking for the version of me who used to wait for her. But I wasn't there anymore. I watched her for a moment longer. Not with anger, not even pity, just recognition. She had chosen her path, and now she was living in the consequence of it. I whispered to myself, "We all face what we create." Then I turned away and kept walking. The city lights reflected off the wet pavement, glowing like scattered memories. I walked without looking back. Every step felt like closure, not revenge, not triumph, just peace. Karma didn't roar, it whispered, and I had finally learned to listen. It started quietly, not with a plan, not with a breakthrough, just with a morning that didn't hurt as much. Mr. Grant called me into his office that day. He looked up from his laptop and said, "Ethan, that proposal you sent? Solid work." I blinked. "Really?" He nodded. "You've been off your game for months, but this feels like the old you. Maybe even better." "I'm trying," I said. He leaned back. "Good, because I'm giving you something new, the Harper account. Big client. Think you can handle it?" A small smile tugged at my lips. "Yeah, I can." "Then prove it," he said. "And Ethan, whatever's been holding you down, let it go. You're sharper when you're free." His words stuck with me all day. Sharper when free. At lunch, I texted Sophie. "Me. Got a new project." "Sophie, finally." "Proud of you. Celebrate with a run tonight." "No excuses," I groaned out loud. Liam overheard. "Running again?" he asked. "Sophie's idea," I said. He grinned. "Good, you looked like a ghost for weeks. Now you look slightly undead." I laughed for the first time in a while. "Thanks, man. Real confidence booster." "Hey, progress," he said, clapping my shoulder. "You're glowing, trauma chic." That evening, I forced myself into my running shoes. My legs protested, my lungs burned, but the rhythm of the steps started to quiet my head. Every exhale felt like letting go of a memory I'd been gripping too tightly. When I stopped by the cafe afterwards, sweat still clinging to my skin, Maya was behind the counter. "Rough run?" she asked, smiling. "More like near death," I said. "Then you deserve an extra shot," she replied, already making my usual. I watched her move, calm, focused, no judgment in her eyes. Just quiet understanding. When she handed me the cup, she said softly, "You look lighter." I chuckled. "Guess grief burns calories." Her smile faded a little. "You lost someone?" "In a way," I said. "But maybe I'm finding myself again." "That's harder," she said. "But better." Something about her tone made me pause. She wasn't fishing for details, she just got it. I started stopping by more often after that. Not for the coffee, or for the quiet. One evening she asked, "How's the project?" "Stressful," I said. "But I like it." "Then you're healing," she said. "You think work equals healing?" "No," she said, tilting her head. "But purpose does." Her words lingered long after I left. At work, I poured everything into the Harper project. Late nights didn't drain me anymore. They energized me. Mr. Grant would walk by and say, "That's the fire I've been missing." I'd just nod, thinking, it never really left. I just forgot where to aim it. Sophie kept pushing me too. One night during a run, she said, "You're different lately. Better or worse?" I asked. "Stronger," she said. "You stopped chasing closure." I slowed down, breathing hard. Maybe I realized closure isn't given. It's made, she smiled. "Now you sound like someone worth dating again." "Please," I said, laughing. "Let's not get ahead of ourselves." But later that week, when Maya smiled at me from behind the counter, I wondered if maybe Sophie was right. Maya noticed me staring and raised an eyebrow. "You okay?" "Yeah," I said. "Just thinking." "Dangerous habit," she teased. "Not today," I replied. "Today's a good one," and it was. For the first time in months, I wasn't thinking about what I'd lost. I was thinking about what I was building, piece by piece, breath by breath. I went home that night, opened my window, and let the city noise fill the silence. I remembered how I used to sit in the same spot, scrolling through old photos, trying to feel something. Now I just sat there, existing, and it was enough. Mr. Grant's words came back to me. "You're sharper when you're free." He was right. The pain hadn't vanished. It had transformed. Into fuel, into purpose, into me. Claire took something from me, yes, but she didn't take everything. Because what he took, I rebuilt. I was halfway through dinner when my phone buzzed. I glanced down and froze. "I miss you." "Dylan's gone." "Can we talk?" Her name blinked at me, urgent, fragile, familiar. My thumb hovered over the screen. I could feel my pulse thumping in my ears. I thought about all the nights I'd spent replaying her words, her lies, the way she smiled and promised forever. I remembered her tears, her excuses, the rehearsed confessions I'd once clung to. Liam's voice popped into my head. "Don't let her win twice." I exhaled slowly. "Not today," I whispered to myself. I picked up the phone, stared at the message like it was a stranger's whisper, then set it down. Locked it. My chest felt lighter immediately, as if a weight I hadn't known I carried had finally lifted. Sophie called right then. "Hey, you okay?" "I just got a text from her," I said. "And?" "I didn't open it." "Good," she said. "You're finally done." "I think I am," I admitted. "It's not about ignoring her. It's about living without needing her." "That's what I was hoping you'd realize," she said. I leaned back in my chair. The apartment felt quieter, calmer, softer. I realized I hadn't felt this still in months. Sophie laughed softly. "You sound peaceful. Scary, but peaceful." "It's strange," I said. "I don't feel empty or bitter. I feel free." "Exactly. That's the point." I put the phone aside, stared at the window. The city lights flickered outside, indifferent and constant. They didn't care about heartbreak or apologies. They just were. I remembered walking past her in that cafe weeks ago. The way she'd looked at me, guilt filling her face. Dylan flirting with someone else, Claire trapped in her own mistakes. Karma hadn't needed my interference. It had done its work quietly. I smiled faintly, thinking about the irony. I used to wait for revenge, closure, even forgiveness from her. Now I had all of it without opening a single message. Liam stopped by later. "You're really calm tonight," he said, handing me a beer. "I don't need anger anymore," I replied. "Or answers. Or explanations. I have myself." "Wow," he said, shaking his head. "Finally, you look solid." "I feel solid," I said. "Like I didn't yesterday or the day before." We sat in silence, the comfortable kind. No need to talk about Claire, no need to revisit old pain. I realized I hadn't thought about her in anger for hours, like maybe days. I remembered Mr. Grant telling me once, "You're sharper when free." He had been right, but I hadn't understood it fully until now. Freedom wasn't revenge. It wasn't proving something to her. It was reclaiming the parts of myself I'd let go, piece by piece. Later, I walked to the cafe where Maya worked. She greeted me with the same quiet smile that said, "I see you, even when you don't speak." "How's the project?" she asked. "Challenging," I said, "but good." "Sounds like you're finally breathing again." "I am," I said. "I really am." We didn't need more words. Just her presence, calm and patient, reminded me that life went forward. Back at home, I glanced at the phone again. Claire's name glowed softly, waiting, begging, pleading. And for the first time, I felt no urge, no pull, no curiosity. I turned it over, locked it, and walked away. I realized forgiveness wasn't a gift for her. It was a gift for me. Letting go didn't mean I was weak. It meant I was strong enough to live without poison in my chest, strong enough to rebuild happiness on my own terms. That night, I slept without dreams of betrayal or regret. I woke the next morning with a sense of calm I hadn't known in years, not relief, not triumph, just peace. And that peace was more powerful than any apology, more lasting than any confession, more freeing than any message I could have opened. I smiled to myself. Finally, the story was mine, not hers, not Dylan's, not anyone else's. Finally, it was over. I was walking down the street on a crisp afternoon, earbuds in, letting the city sounds mix with soft music, when I saw her, Claire. She stood outside a boutique, fidgeting with her phone, her hair pulled back in a sloppy ponytail. I almost didn't recognize her. The confident sway was gone, her smile hollow, the sparkle in her eyes replaced by a quiet desperation. She looked up, and our eyes met. "You look happy," she whispered, almost to herself. I slowed but didn't stop. I nodded, because I finally stopped needing answers. Her lips parted, as if she wanted to say something, but her voice trembled. "I didn't think you'd move on this fast." I shrugged, calm and measured. "You made me learn how," she swallowed, her throat working like she wanted to argue but couldn't. "I saw the ghost of the woman I once loved, the one who used to light up rooms, the one who whispered promises I believed in. Now all that remained was a shadow. I thought," she started, then stopped. Her hands twisted together nervously. "I thought we could still—" "You thought wrong," I said softly. Not harshly, just firmly. "There's nothing left to fix here." She flinched, like my words cut deeper than she expected. "But I shook my head. "No, I'm not bitter. I'm not angry. I'm just free." For a moment, she stared at me, her chest rising and falling quickly. The vulnerability was almost painful to see. "Almost. You make it sound so easy," she said finally, voice low. "Like it doesn't hurt you at all." I smiled faintly, the kind of smile that doesn't need approval. "It does hurt, but I learned that needing closure from you only kept me chained. Letting go is the only real answer." She blinked, tears threatening to fall. I never realized." I cut her gently. "You never had to." "The lesson was mine. I don't need you to understand it." Her face softened for a moment, a flicker of regret crossing her features. I'm sorry, Ethan, for everything." I shook my head, stepping forward but not too close. "Sorry doesn't change what happened. I've made peace with it, and with myself." Her lips trembled again. I can't imagine being as strong as you are." "You can try," I said, voice steady. "Or you can watch me walk away and know that strength doesn't come from holding on to someone who doesn't value you. It comes from letting go." I turned, my steps confident and calm. I could feel her gaze on my back, heavy with unspoken words, with the knowledge that the life we had shared was gone, truly gone. As I walked down the street, the sunlight hit my face, warming my chest. The air felt lighter than it had in months, my shoulders freer, my heart unburdened. I didn't look back. Behind me, I knew she lingered, staring at the space I had occupied, realizing silently that she had lost more than just me. And for the first time, I didn't feel the need to explain, to justify, or to defend my life. I simply moved forward. She had been part of my past. And now, the past remained there. behind me, untouchable, powerless. I walked on, feeling the quiet strength of someone who had survived heartbreak, who had reclaimed their life, and who had finally, fully, learned how to be free. Months passed. Life had shifted in ways I hadn't imagined. I moved to a new city, found a small apartment with a balcony that caught the sunset just right, and started a job that demanded my focus and rewarded my effort. Liam called one evening. "So new city, new life. You surviving?" "I am," I said, sipping coffee on my balcony. "Better than surviving. I'm actually living. That's good to hear. No trace of old ghosts?" "Some days their shadows linger," I admitted. "But not the pain. Just reminders." "Sounds like progress." "Yeah," I said. "Real progress this time," Sophie texted around the same time. "Sophie, how's the heart?" "Me. Quiet. Peaceful." "Sophie. Good. You earned it." I smiled, leaning back in my chair. The city hummed softly around me. Cars, distant voices, the wind brushing against the balcony rail. It all felt alive in mine. I thought about Claire sometimes. Not with anger, not with longing. Just curiosity about what she was doing, what mistakes she might still be making, and how different my life had become. One evening I ran into Maya at a cafe near my new apartment. She smiled, the same quiet, understanding smile that made it easy to exist without explaining myself. "New city suits you," she said. "It does," I replied. "I feel like I finally belong somewhere." "Not just somewhere," she said. "Somewhere you can breathe." "That too," I said. She handed me my coffee. "Ever think about going back?" "Not really," I said. "Back isn't what I need anymore. Forward is." I left the cafe, walking through streets lit with warm yellow lights. The air was crisp and the smell of fresh bread drifted from bakeries. Everything felt normal, but normal in a way that didn't feel small. Normal that felt like possibility. At my apartment, I stepped onto the balcony just as the sun began its descent. The horizon glowed gold and rose, streaked with purple, and I watched it like I had never truly seen a sunset before. I whispered to myself, almost like confessing a secret. She said her ex was just a memory. I paused, letting the wind carry the words. Well, now so is she. It wasn't bitterness. It wasn't triumph. It was acknowledgement. Love had been my greatest teacher, and betrayal my most painful lesson. I had learned to let go, to rebuild, to trust myself again. I texted Sophie. Me. Watching the sunset. Feeling okay. Really okay? Sophie. That's beautiful. You earned it. I smiled at the screen, then set my phone aside. No notifications, no echoes of the past, just the present and the warmth settling in my chest. The city lights flickered as dusk fell, and I leaned against the balcony rail. My apartment smelled faintly of coffee and old books. I thought about my friends, my new routines, my work, the quiet peace I'd cultivated. I realized something fundamental. The heartbreak hadn't destroyed me. It had shaped me, strengthened me, and prepared me to appreciate this calm, this moment. I sipped my coffee and watched the sun sink completely, leaving streaks of pink and orange in the sky. A breeze brushed my face, carrying a sense of freedom I hadn't known months ago. I closed my eyes briefly, inhaled deeply, and opened them again. For the first time in a long time, I smiled without pretending, and it felt real, finally. Everything that once hurt me had become nothing more than a memory, just a memory.